Hi, this is Jeremy Jordan, and you are listening to iHeartRadio Broadway.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
My first initial thought was, I'm not going to be able to do this. Because it was supposed to film during the birth of my first daughter, but film in Canada. And I was like, I can't make it work. And luckily we pushed it and figured it out. Neil Bogart was the sort of founder of Casablanca Records and essentially discovered a lot of the acts of the 60s and 70s that you recognize, from Kiss to Donna Summer, Bill Withers, Parliament, the list kind of go, Village People. It's just a very long list, and he sort of helped foster these acts into the world and believed in them, a lot of them before anybody else did, and was patient enough to let the world catch up and make these into huge acts that have really inspired the world of music and beyond. I think Neil was always seen as like a very sort of tenacious yes man. Will not say no. No was not in his vocabulary. But I think at the end of the day, he was just chasing time. And that was kind of it was kind of the sort of devil on his shoulder was like, you're running out of time, you're running out of time, you're running out of time. And then eventually he passed away really early. But he really went down some dark paths, even though he's seen for people that knew him as this sort of like congenial, like so much energy all the time. So it's always fun to see kind of what is behind the mask. And a lot of the only things that you really have of Neil, at least that I saw during my research, was interviews. You have your interview kind of persona, that kind of face. And you can see like little windows, like little sneak peeks every once in a while. He'll like give a little smile, but otherwise it's a little bit of a mask. So to kind of find what was behind that was really interesting for me. Tim was really an essential. I mean, he's the one that got this movie made, and sort of pursued me relentlessly until I said yes. Which, listen, if everybody that ever wants to put me in a film could do that, that'd be great. But no, it was really, I was really lucky because working with a family member and someone that knew this person so well, even though he died so long ago. I never felt pressured to be perfect or do this sort of imitation or like, oh, my dad wouldn't have said that or done that. He cast me because he felt like I had the right essence of his father, and that's really the only thing that he wanted me to hold on to, was this sort of essence of this showman who, needed his vision to be something in the world and wouldn't stop at anything. And as long as I held on to that, he really trusted me to create my own version of the character, and I only ever got encouragement from him, and it was a really great way to work. It was great. I mean, we have and Michelle Monaghan and Lindsay Fonseca, who are like my two leading ladies. Jay Farrow. We got like a lot of SNL people, like just a lot of comedians. Sebastian Maniscalco. We had a lot of comedians on set, so we were always laughing. And what was great about having so many great actors is that he would leave the take open at the end of the scene, and we would just go, and he would let us, and then whatever we found, we would then import into the next take. And so like the scenes started to sort of shift and sort of become their own sort of creature, and a lot of what you see in the film, a massive part of what you see in the film is just things that we found on set and improv and just by having fun and exploring together. Well, I think there is a really lovely message of perseverance and how you don't have to stop just because the world says that you have to stop. If you believe in something, you just keep going. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make any sense financially or otherwise. You just if it's something that you need and feel is true and will make you happy and will bring you the things that and will bring the world something great, I think you have to just keep going and trying for it. Now, Neil wasn't always perfect in those pursuits, but that was the thing that he could always say he had over everybody else, was that he was the most ambitious person in the room and just wouldn't take no for an answer. Yeah, so I have this band that I started during COVID with my great friend Michael, who's this incredible musician. And I've always written music, but I never really felt super confident of putting myself fully out there. And so collaborating with someone, and a great friend of mine, and he kind of handles a lot of the music things, and I'll write the lyrics and do the vocals. And it's a really great collaboration. And I've always, ever since I was a little kid, wanted to be secretly a rock star. I would just, jam out in my room, the doors closed, pretend that nobody could hear me, and just scream at the top of my lungs at radio. So just living out those childhood dreams, and we're figuring our way out through the business. Apparently it's not as easy as just dropping off your demo at a record company. The movie would have, you would believe otherwise, but no, that's not how things work these days. So we're learning and still trying to start playing more. We have our first album coming out in June, and hopefully play some shows around then. And well, we're a rock band, so we have it's kind of our own sound. Our shtick, so to speak, is that instead of a second guitar, we have a violin, which creates all these different interesting avenues for musical landscape. And we have me, who's like a storyteller at heart. So all of our lyrics and all of our songs are very sort of story oriented. It's not just like, here's the hook and go, 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 go. And we take our inspiration from what we grew up with, like late 90s, early 2000s rock and roll and alternative music, and then we add bits of classical, we add bits of pop, we're not super hard rock or anything like that. It's a little bit more progressive, a little more lyrical rock and roll, and we just have a really great time, and we're still finding our sound. It's funny because I always have tried desperately to avoid doing cabarets and concerts for a really long time, because I was never comfortable in my own skin. That's why I was an actor, because I could be other people. And then I sort of fell into a moment where I was like, well, I need to make some money, so let's try this concert thing. And I actually really fell in love with it, and it's allowed me to be my own storyteller and to be more comfortable in my own skin. And so I tell stories about my life and get to celebrate, the things and the achievements that I've done, and get to be with people that are already fans and so excited and so happy to be there. So it's really moments of gratitude, and I can really feel supported in those moments. And it's what's been really great is that as I've done it more and more, I've gotten more adventurous with my storytelling and with how I can present a musical number or a show to people, and it's made me feel more confident in my own abilities. And I don't know if I would have started the band otherwise before that, even though it's very different than the Broadway cabaret stuff. But I've grown a lot as a human just by having to face my fear of being myself on stage. I'm just working on the band, so we have this album coming out, and I have a bunch of concerts. So we've kind of talked about that, and otherwise I'm your average actor who's just looking for the next gig. So really excited about this movie, and hopefully it does well. And otherwise, I'm back to the grind. That's just how it is, and it's exciting. It's a little scary, but it's exciting.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.